absolute poverty by capitalist systems. We absolutely know that to be the case. I can leverage their suffering to bestow onto me an undeserved moral superiority.
That's right.
And then I can have my cake and eat it too, because I can still be a denizen of the wealthy West.
That's
and
right.
I can feel sorry for poor people and be oppressed at the same time.
Absolutely. And I feel like you're even being too generous for them in terms of the work they put in. Because today, that I care, the only way it manifests itself in work, in little action, I put a sign on my yard with Black Lives Matter. Period. Done. If Black Lives Matter so much, if Black Lives Matter so much, then you cannot, with a straight face, tell me in the same sentence that you also are anti-capitalist. And also, if Black Lives Matter so much, what do you make of the fate of 1 billion Black people? Because Africa is home to 1 billion Black people. We're 1.3 billion, but 1 billion of those are Black. It is home to 90% of the representatives of the Black race. Yet you tell me Black Lives Matter, and you, in the same sentence, are going to be anti-capitalist, the only thing we know to build prosperity, and with that respect, you cannot be possibly serious here. And guess what? Newsflash. People like me today are here to tell you how full of it you are, because you're full of it. And I'm not going to allow you to no longer have your cake and eat it too. It's just too easy when the stakes are so high. And the same thing with your whole thing about the climate change. Oh, gee, climate change. I'm not even going to go and argue the scientific,
Merits.
argument. I'm not. Let's say I even agree with you that the world is going to go to hell in 12 years, as they claim. If nothing is done, Earth is going to blow up in 12 years. Let's go and freak out all the kids, because you know what? It's justified. Let's say I even agree with you on that one. And then I say, and then we do what? Because your solution right now is to tell me we stop all carbon emission, we stop all fossil fuels right now. Right now. But Jordan, what does that mean if we did that? What does that mean if we did that? It means
poor people will freeze in the dark and bake in the sun while they starve.
Thank you. You just signed a death warrant. And I'm going to talk about Africa only for now. You just signed a death warrant for 1.3 billion people, of them 1 billion Black people. And you just told me that Black Lives Matter. So even when it comes to climate, you're full of it. And I'm willing to say that you're just an idiot because you don't know what's going on, but even there, and if you still with a straight face can say, yeah, well, to sacrifice the rest of the world, to sacrifice these 1.3 billion Africans so that the earth can stay. Oh, really? How different are you then from somebody who enslaved me a little while ago? Really, my life is worth that? Black babies are gonna have to die so your white babies can stay alive? You know, sometimes when I hear the prince, who is that guy's name? You know, the Princess Diana had 2 kids, I think. The older one, with a straight face, the guy by the time he had popped child number 4, had the nerve to tell us that the problem with the world is overpopulation. Earth cannot sustain overpopulation. From a guy who has 4 kids. So what are you telling me exactly? Because I'm just...
Marian Tupy from humanprogress.org, he's publishing a book in August called Superabundance. And he's redone a number of economic calculations showing, for example, documenting the extremely positive relationship between increased population and general prosperity.
That's right.
And he calculated that every child born today will produce 7 times as many resources as he or she will consume.
See?
Right, C is right. And so all these people who are squawking about there being too many people on the planet, it's always other people who are too many,
That's what I was
as you're pointing out.
That's what I was going to say.
Absolutely.
So here's Prince, whatever his name is, telling me that the problem with the world is overpopulation while just having popped his 4th child. So are you telling me that your child can live but the other ones cannot? Because that's pretty much what you're saying, because you popped these kids. And if that's what you're saying, if you're saying that the other ones cannot, then go on, keep going with your thinking. Why?
Yeah, right.
Why can't they? Why can't they? Why can't they? Are you a closeted racist? Maybe
Look,
not, but closeted.
we're gonna see this. We're gonna see this play out in the fall. This is coming just as certain as the sun's going to rise tomorrow. You know, the fact these environmental policies that have emboldened Putin, made Europe dependent on oil and gas from Russia.
That's right.
Now we have a shortage. We have
a
a huge increase in fertilizer prices, and we know perfectly well that about 150 million people, most of them in Africa and in North Africa and in the Middle East and in sub-Saharan Africa, are going to be suffering dreadfully in the fall because of this. And so we can see right away that what has happened when push came to shove is that the radical utopian Marxist types who are beating the drum about the environment were perfectly willing to sacrifice today's real poor to the hypothetical well-being of some future poor in their utopian schemes.
Absolutely.
And that's coming right away.
No, it's coming right away. And then one of the things that the Ukrainian war has brought up to the surface, because we've been talking about it forever, and then people are like, oh, you're being too, you're not being, but it's the hypocrisy of these people, the hypocrisy. When I have a Green Party of all parties, the Green Party of Germany, I don't know if you heard it, a week or so ago, they came out and they said, oh, we have to keep burning coal a little while longer. Oh, really?
Yeah, a little while.
When you ask us on the line, we have to keep burning coal a little while longer. Oh, but the Africans? No. No. So this hypocrisy is the reckoning is coming. The reckoning is coming because I, for one, I'm not willing to stand there and let them get away with it. All of this time, they made it sound like they have a moral high ground, and I call not only BS.
That's enough of that. I agree, man.
I call
enough
BS.
of that. That's such a lie.
I call BS. I'm going to call them what they are. These anti-fossil fuel zealots are the new racists of our times. And we can see clear in their game, and we will not stand for it. Not. So a war is coming, but the war that's coming for me is not a cultural war. I think the cultural war is too easy for them to win in a way. But this one right here is going to bring them straight back to who they are. When I see that Jeff Bezos' ex-wife gave a couple $100 million to Planned Parenthood, and she specifically earmarked it for Black women. Lady, can you please tell me your further thinking? And we didn't hear about it, by the way, in the bigger news. So I'm just trying to understand, why does the world think that it needs less Black babies? It seems to me that's what it is. So we want to talk about racism. I think there is racism here that doesn't speak its name. But we're going to have to call it what it is. So it's going to be one thing or another, Jordan. One is I'm going to have to tell me that Black lives matter. If Black lives matter, then African lives have to matter. If African lives do matter, then capitalism